Hey everybody, so here I am. As promised, I'm going to tell you guys about this experience that a couple told on stage that was not a real experience. Me living through this was surreal to experience because I'm going to really keep it real. I took being in the quote-unquote truth so seriously. I always try to be very honest. I would have a guilty conscience quick. And I think that I kind of reflected how I was and how my family was onto other witnesses. And so when you see other witnesses being dishonest or flat out lying, or being really cruel, it was just bizarre because you thought, why are they in the truth? And I say that with quotation marks because it's not the truth. And how can they act like this? So it gives you like major cognitive dissonance right there. So what happened was I was in a congregation and I really had a lot of friends in that congregation. We had a lot of young ones. We had a lot of fun. They were chill. They were really chill. And one of the young brothers backtrack. He started dating a worldly girl, really. He really wasn't coming to meetings anymore. I didn't even really know him at first. But when they started dating, his mom started talking to her, and he started talking to her that he was kind of a Jehovah's Witness. And wouldn't you know it, she took to it. She really liked what she was hearing. So the both of them ended up getting married and started coming to meetings. Very young couple. And of course, everybody's really excited when people start studying and, join the club. And when she started studying, we had a pioneer couple that was in our hall. And it was funny because we called him the Phantom Pioneer because the man would show up for every meeting of field service and make a big show about it, and then we never saw him in service. And his wife ended up studying with this girl. And so, the girl ended up getting baptized, and I really didn't pay too much attention to all of this, except they were invited to give their demonstration at the convention. And they were invited on stage to talk about their study and how, we'll call her Becky, how Becky came into the truth and all this. And I happened to sit next to her and all the other young ones. I didn't think anything of it. And I really wouldn't have noticed if there was discrepancies in the stories or anything, except that I was sitting right next to Becky when the couple was on stage, the Phantom Pioneer and his wife, and they talked about how Becky came into the truth. And I'm just listening, but Becky is shaking her head no next to me. And I just looked at her, and she's shaking it kind of really sad and shocked. And I'm like, what's up? And she goes, this is not what happened at all. And it was just so shocking to hear because the experience that they were telling was about Becky, except how they were telling it was not true. And I don't remember the details of it, but I think they kind of did, they changed the story on how they met Becky and how they got the study and everything, because the truth is that Becky started dating a witness, but, they wouldn't say that part at the convention, and that she started getting to know the religion through her boyfriend. Omitted all of that, changed the story, made themselves look really great. And Becky was disgusted. And I'm sitting there I can't even believe that this is happening right now, like that I happen to sit with her and that she's completely disgusted with what's happening because the story isn't true. They were lying on stage about their experience with Becky, and Becky is sitting in the audience, and shame on both of us, because honestly, we should have woken up, right? We didn't. It took me years later to wake up, and Becky and her husband, they're still in. They're super pioneer and elder, but she remembered that. She knows about this. She will remember it because it was quite a shocking thing to have happened. Too bad that they stayed, but they were also kind of, I think, really liking the attention of her, getting showered and love bombed, and now they're both like pioneer and elder, like super J-dubs. They like that. And that's the thing with the J-dubs a lot of times, is that there's such community. And especially if you're in a nice congregation, which that congregation was a nice congregation, all the young ones had so much fun together. And there's really, really cool, but also intelligent people. And I read one of the comments from my previous videos where a commenter said, I'm sorry, but you cannot be a super intelligent individual and stay in this cult. And everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I disagree with that completely. I think it has nothing to do with intelligence. And case in point is Professor Steve Hassan, who is a professor. He's highly intelligent, and yet he joined the Moonies. It doesn't have anything to do with being smart or not being smart. It has to do with that you got conned, really. And especially for the born-ins, it's so much harder to get out. My grandpa, his mom was in the concentration camp. He really missed his mom. And so when he was reunited with her, and the Jehovah's Witnesses had this message post-World War II of hope, and they weren't able to go back to their old homeland, because that's now Russia and Poland. And so they had such a community. They loved preaching, and he was so good at laying things out. Like, I enjoyed it. And I stand by what I said. The man was super intelligent, and yes, he got conned by a cult. Both can be true at the same time. And that's the same in this congregation. There's young people that were so intelligent. You could have great conversations, and a lot of times you could have honest conversations with them too, because I really enjoyed talking to them. And a lot of times, we would talk about discrepancies in watchtowers in different languages, and they agreed with a lot of things. That's why I appreciated that congregation. They were just chill. They weren't super duper culty for the most part. It's kind of heartbreaking to see also that so many young ones didn't go to college, didn't learn anything. My two friends, they clean houses, and that's a very noble job, but it's also very hard as you get older. And for those two, I would have loved to seen them get a college education, and they just wasted that, and they're waiting year after year for Armageddon to come. So anyways, that's my story with this particular incident. And if you have any comments about experiences that weren't true, where did they come from, let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate it. Thanks.